Hey everyone, Mike here. No Friday story tonight since I'm still waiting on some artwork to come through, but I thought I would put together a little video to update y'all on my existence and where this channel is heading in the coming months.
But Mike, update videos aren't my thing and I still demand to be entertained.
I hear you scream at the screen in rage. No worries, earlier today I uploaded the short film my friends and me made for the Prague 48-hour film festival. Link in the corner thing if you're looking for something more narrative. If you do want an update on the channel though, stick around.
Part 1. What I've been doing in real life / how the sausage is currently made.
So, as some of you might know, I work as a tour guide in Prague, the mother of all cities. I've been working in the tourism industry for the past 8-ish years, but 2020 and 2021 have been particularly unusual. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of work in 2020 on account of that thing that we don't like talking about, but if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't have ended up falling into this little pulp fiction hole we have here. So, kind of thankful. During the lockdown year, all of the stories would be written, recorded, edited, and published in the course of a week. That's a decent workload if you're unemployed and living off your savings, but it's not something that can be easily balanced with a day job. Around February of 2021, I started preparing for the tourism industry to come back and pre-wrote most of so that I wouldn't have to worry about my release schedule come summer. That plan almost worked. Most of I Am Cursed and It's Horse Related was written, edited, and released while I was working full-time as a tour guide. Combining 6 hours of yelling history at strangers and writing through the night is something that's not exactly within my skill set. I'm still happy with the final result of the series, but the relief I felt when finally started releasing and I could have a social life is something I would really like to sustain. So that's basically the plan for the future of the channel. It's currently low season in Touristland, so I have plenty of time to focus on pre-writing stories for the summer. Have no fear though, there's still going to be new stories coming out every Friday. There's currently 18 finished stories sitting in my to-release folder, so there's definitely no shortage of things to come. Let's be less vague though. What's coming to the channel in the coming weeks?
Part 2. The immediate future of the channel.
To switch things up from standalone stories, the next couple of weeks will be dedicated to the reading of a journal of a scientist from the United People's Institute of Science read by yours truly. There's going to be 8 episodes planned, but on the off chance that you get tired of my voice, there's going to be a re-release of some of the older stories like Daddy is Braver or The Long-Legged Beast of the Magura Forest, dropping every Tuesday. The first of the journal stories is set to drop on Friday, and the re-releases are going to start whenever I finish off editing all 8 of the Friday releases. At the time of recording, the first episode of Journals from the Institute is already available on my Patreon, and the plan is to have at least 4 of the episodes up there by next Friday.
Patreon? Oh, Mike, please tell us more.
I hear you say. Fine, if you insist.
Part 3. Patreon stuff / my secret internet life.
The moment the first episode of dropped, all 8 episodes were already completed and available on my Patreon, which, after chasing weekly release schedules for over a year, was a mighty fine feeling. The algorithm on YouTube requires at least a weekly release schedule from small channels, and that is what it is, but releasing big chunks of content in random intervals is something I prefer a lot more from a creative standpoint. If you prefer to binge stuff rather than to wait every week and you want to support a bohemian artist, drop on by. $3 a month gets you early access to text versions of the stories, $5 a month gets you early access to audio versions, and $10 a month gets your name in the opening credits and access to some early short films and a bunch of unlisted videos from the early days of the channel. I'm new to all this, so if there's something you'd like to see offered on the Patreon, give me a shout. Happy for all suggestions. I'm trying to focus on getting that pre-writing stuff done right now, so there's not much that I can offer up in terms of stretch goals, but I did spend a good chunk of quarantine learning how to play guitar. We're currently sitting at $46 a month. If that pops up to $50, I'll serenade y'all with a couple of songs that I learned this pandemic season. There's also something else though. I've been making stuff on the internet for a long time. Back in the early 2010s, I made something for a very strange corner of the internet, which blossomed up to a couple million views. I have quite a few stories from that weird corner of the web, and I definitely want to share them on this channel somewhere down the line in a super clickbaity video, but I would like those videos to have some production value, and I don't really have the resources for that right now. If the Patreon ever hits $250, which would cover my health and social insurance, I'd be more than happy to put together a bunch of flip camera videos with tales of the strange from a weird corner of the internet. No pressure though, I'm not dying of hunger, and I've recovered most of my savings this summer. Only pitch in if you want to. For the time being, I'll let this internet history be a strange enigma that will be explored on this channel somewhere down the line. Speaking of somewhere down the line,
Part 4, the extended future of the channel.
outside of the general Friday stories, there's 1,000 other irons I have in the furnace. There's an animated short film I've been working on with a mad talented animator. There's a fantasy post-apocalyptic western novella I've been chipping away at for a while now. There's a bunch of folks I want to shoot more short films with, and oodles of other things I probably shouldn't jinx. I don't like to go into details about when things should be getting done, because if I've learned anything from making stuff over the past couple of years, it's that deadlines are met more easily internally than in a public setting. More things are coming, I'll tell you about them as we get closer. With that said though, there's 3 things I want to announce so that I can give myself some accountability to actually go through with them.
Project number 1.
Before I was writing short horror stories, I mainly used to write scripts. Specifically, in 2018 and 2019, I mainly used to write scripts for animated web series. You might be familiar with Dinosaur Boy, but there's a bunch of other scripts just sitting and gathering dust on my laptop. Back in the olden days of Newgrounds, I used to make animated shorts and remember really enjoying it. I haven't drawn anything in ages, but I would like to get back into it. I don't really have the patience to sit around and practice without a concrete end goal though, so here is me saying that I'll try to animate my 2018 4-part web series titled Hippopotamus. It's basically like Jaws, but with a hippo and set in a liquor store. I'm not sure how within the realm of my skills the animation work is, but now that I said it out loud, guess I'll have to try. Here's to hoping that by this time next year, I'll have something to show.
Project number 2.
This one is considerably less time-intensive than an animated web series, but I'd still like to chuck in some commitment. I'd like to release a short story collection of some of the stories featured on this channel. Here's the thing though, I have no idea which ones. There's 120 of these things now, and my impression of the stories is usually more tied to my memories of writing them rather than the actual quality of the stories. Somewhere down the line, I'd like to put together some polls and all that sort of stuff to figure out what y'all would like to see printed on paper.
Project number 3.
Finally, and I guess most importantly, I'd like to start putting together a Spotify release of the stories on this channel. My target date for the release right now is 2022, but I'm still kind of drawing blanks on how to package all of this stuff into a show. Plan is to make 3 stories an episode and release 3 times a week to get really snug with the podcast algorithms, but that's about as far as I've gotten. I usually throw around the name Adult Goosebumps because it makes me giggle, but if you have any ideas for names, I'm all ears. So there we go, a good old rambling update video. Thank you for listening, appreciate having you around, and if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, see y'all next Friday.